This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome, everybody, to the Mailbag / Elimination Chamber preview show. We've got a jam-packed show here with tomorrow night being, apparently, according to Triple H, an industry-changing night. What does that mean? Could just mean typical jargon, some marketing thrown in there to get people interested. I mean, Triple H, he has delivered every time he's said that he's going to deliver, and using industry changing is pretty strong language. It's not just a historic night. They use that word over and over and over, which often doesn't mean anything. But industry changing, I mean, technically, no matter what happens, it's industry changing because every event that happens changes the industry, even if at the smallest level. So he's not wrong. But in the context that we expect what industry changing is supposed to mean, is it going to deliver? We'll find out. I mean, yes, The Rock's going to be there. Cody Rhodes is going to be there. We know he's going to turn down The Rock, but what comes of it? I think that's the biggest question coming into the chamber in terms of that story is not what does Cody say, but rather what's the follow-up after he says no? Does The Rock have a backup to attack Cody? And if so, how does that leave, and where does that leave the person who leaves the chamber the winner, whether it's Punk, Cena, Rollins? Where does that leave that winner? Because if this chamber wasn't there to determine who's going to face Cody, then you would imagine this segment is leading to Cody versus The Rock for the championship. Now, The Rock could still be involved here. While he said this isn't necessarily going to end in a match, what if he's lying? He could simply be lying. Or rather, diverting our attention. I've heard a lot of good theories over the last several days. Everything from The Rock actually inserting himself in, if he's saying, you're not going to be my champion, I'll be the effing champion, to Cody turning heel at WrestleMania, eventually selling out. Well, initially he rejects and resists. He ends up taking The Rock's offer just a little bit later on when it matters to keep the belt at WrestleMania, and then blaming the fans for not wanting and lying to themselves they wouldn't have done the same thing for their families. This is a story set up for a heel turn. Whether it's Cody or whether it's somebody else. I feel like I've seen this before. We've seen this movie before. We've seen this plot before, and while you know the good guy is going to say no initially, the more important question is, does the temptation at some point overtake them? Do they eventually get so tempted to go to the dark side that they justify to themselves that they need to, that they had no choice for their family's sake? We could be going there. And if this is all leading to a Cody heel turn, bring it on, baby. It's been 3 years. We've had 3 years with Cody, one of them as champion. And some would say that's more than enough for a big run as a babyface. You can always come back to it. We know it works. And what do? So the WWE Creative has a lot of options in front of them. And a big step, although certainly not all the answers, are going to be given to us tomorrow night. At least in terms of where they could be going. And if they're going that way, is this just a red herring for another swerve that's going to take place at WrestleMania? Remember, the payoff isn't tomorrow night. The payoff is WrestleMania. At least in big part. Of course, there's follow-up, there's backlash, there's, as the PLEs go on, there's more, in even maybe out to next year's SummerSlam. But really, the payoff is, for all intents and purposes, April 20th and 21st. So, let's get to those emails, everybody. And if you want to join us, a good time to do it is right now before the PLE. If you're listening after, you can still join us, of course. But right now is a great time because you can get yourself an ad-free experience of this show including the official review show for Elimination Chamber coming to you tomorrow night or Sunday. Sunday is probably the more likely unless something incredibly crazy happens. It's just, honestly, it's just not feasible for me on those nights. With things I have going on, it's really, really difficult unless something was to just be, I gotta talk now. But you can get yourself an ad-free experience and set yourself up for a week of ad-free experience listening, and do that at patreon.com/WWE podcast, including getting an ad-free experience. You also get access to a Discord server that allows you to talk to all other wrestling fans during every single show. So let's get into it. Let's talk to you guys, get through these mailbag emails, and then we'll jump right into my predictions. I'm imagining a lot of you guys have your own predictions, which I'm interested to hear. So let's do it. All right. Let's go to... I was going to get to Alex the French guy, but he sent us a voicemail. We'll get to his voicemail in a little bit. Let's get to Tom. And he says, so Matt, tell me if this makes sense. Last year at the Raw After Mania, Rock asked Cody if he could hold his belt and then told him after, The Rock has to go away for a little while, but when I come back, I'm coming for that belt. I want that belt. He was away for a while. He came back last week on SmackDown, and he told Cody, I don't care about the belt. I'm just confused. Well, I mean, I don't think there's much to be confused about in that sense of just comparing what they wanted to do. And I've mentioned it several times, but I've come to the conclusion that it's simply they wanted to do that long term, and they've pivoted to something else. I think what happened here, while you're totally correct, and I've mentioned this several times from the Raw After Mania last year, they had this intention. They truly meant this intent. They were going to go this direction. And that's partially why The Rock came back at Bad Blood, which no one talks about or really don't have a reason for. He just stood there, remember? And then we didn't see him again for months, and everyone's like, well, what the F was that? I think what happened is his schedule, I hate saying this because we've been saying this for like 8 years, his schedule got all effed up. He probably told WWE, crap, sorry guys, count me out this year, especially given what happened at the Netflix Raw debut. The Rock was just Dwayne, halfway playing the final boss, being babyface and making love with Cody Rhodes. I mean, it was just sick. A horrible version of The Rock that we saw on the Netflix debut of Raw. And it seemed like he's probably out. And then The Rock posts something on Instagram several weeks later saying, I've got this one thing, I've got this thing, I've got this thing, I've got this thing. Presumably it's this thing he's doing now in wrestling. So I think they went from wanting to do it to crap, I can't do it to, damn it, I got to do this. I got to check this off my list. And now they're trying to put him back in last second when The Rock, again, probably told him no in October, November. Sorry, I can't. And now he's like, oh, but I kind of wanna. And he can just put himself back in. He's got the power to do that. And now everybody has to adjust their stories and creative. That's what we're seeing. As for my chamber predictions, after Cody tells The Rock no, it's revealed somehow that Cena has already sold his soul for a shot at the title. I think he's already done it. That's how he got a free pass into the chamber. It's why he's been gone so long. He's living the corporate life. I think he wins in a way that smells like it was set up by the final boss. I also think Roman Reigns returns and spears someone, but will it be Seth? Maybe he is asked as part of the favor to take out Seth, but in a twist, just when Seth thinks it's coming, he instead spears Punk. Maybe he spears them both, but he's going to cost someone. Totally agree with a lot of that, Tom. Without giving away my predictions too much, Roman Reigns will definitely be involved tomorrow night. No question about it. Final PLE before WrestleMania. It's all hands on deck. You don't have another chance for another PLE between now and April 20th, which is really just kind of crazy. It feels like it's forever away, but we all know how quickly time moves, and it'll be turn around in next week's WrestleMania. That's just the way it's going to go. But totally agree Roman will have an impact. I'll give you my thoughts on that in a few minutes here at the second half of the show. But perhaps Cena is revealed to be that guy. But the reasons why I don't think Cena is actually going to be revealed to be involved with the Rock. And I've heard that theory too, that the two Hollywood guys, I've heard that. And there's some credibility to that. I'm not making fun of it. I don't think it's a bad idea. I don't think it's the most likely scenario, because while Cena's run is going to be over the next 10 months, 9 months now, we now understand the pacing of his run here. He's only got 30 some dates. That's spread out over 12 months. That means he's not going to be here a lot. He's going to be here for a week or two to build to that PLE, and then he's gone. We get it. It's the Roman Reigns schedule. So I don't know if they'd waste or invest all that time in a guy that we know for sure is going to be done in December, no matter what. Done, gone, unless he's injured. Like they wouldn't do that, I don't think, where they could utilize The Rock for this big story for a guy that's actually going to be here over the coming years, and a younger guy, whoever that may be. So I don't think it's going to be that. Also, John Cena turning heel for just a few dates that he's got left on the calendar, I don't see it. It'd be a shock value, fun thing, but that would have been something you do back in like 2012. When Cena was still somewhat full-time, he was the guy, you could have really done something with that, with The Rock in Hollywood and his influence, and you could have turned John Cena heel, which he almost did turn John Cena heel. He was an inch away from it when they had their WrestleMania 28 match. So I think there's something to be said for that, but I don't think it's the most likely scenario. Thank you, Tom. All right, Mr. DJ, what do you got? It's here. The Elimination Chamber this Saturday, live from Toronto. I got to say, this seems to be a very impressive card with just only 4 matches, similar to the Rumble that only had 4 matches, with the possibility of Cody selling his soul to the final boss, Jade Cargill possibly appearing and attacking her perpetrator in the Women's Chamber, Orton returning during the KO Sammy match, but will there be a 7th entrant in the Men's or Women's Elimination Chamber? I just hope there isn't another Saturday night main event show before WrestleMania. Anyway, before I fall asleep, let's go. Man, you got to stop doing it before you. I feel like you're laying in bed with a laptop or something. I feel bad. But what I'll say about that before I get to your predictions, I think there's some, again, without giving away too much, Orton, Jade definitely seem likely here. And I would concur wholeheartedly that there is not a Saturday night main event show before Mania. I don't see anything in the schedule for that, but I feel like it's one of those pop-up in between PLEs. We need a holdover. We need to insert this for the storyline or whatever. I don't think they'll do it, but if they do, I won't hate it. I think there's no need for it. Sometimes the build between PLEs doesn't need to be, we don't need an event every 3 weeks. We've been saying that for years. I don't think we do. We've been accustomed to it, but do we really need it? I don't think so. Also, with the advent of streaming, no one's buying the PLEs anymore. I don't even know if it's possible. So the selling point of PLEs for the network isn't as big as pay-per-views were when you wanted to see a big match or matches. You had to actually purchase it separately. They're not gaining any extra revenue, at least from the streaming portion, I don't think, when it comes to purchasing from the fans. Now, advertisers, or sponsors rather, gate, the people that actually go to the events, yeah, that revenue still exists. But the at-home fans that are going to be watching aren't going to purchase the network or the streaming service on Peacock simply for a specific PLE. If they do, it's WrestleMania, not a Saturday night main event. All right, so DJ, what's your predictions here? First, Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus, a.k.a. daughter and mother, because they kind of look like, yeah, they do. Probably the blonde hair, and Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. I predict that Tiff and Trish would get the victory. For Sammy and Kevin's unsanctioned match, you're saying that KO gets the victory. He's been on a losing streak with these past losses to Cody. Can you help me out here? What are the rules for an unsanctioned match, and will there be any referee? Because I can't remember a last unsanctioned match WWE had. I can. At least this is the one that pops into my head. I'm sure there were many more after this. Triple H, HBK. Wasn't that in SummerSlam 2002 when HBK returned from a 4-year absence, and it was revealed that Triple H attacked Shawn Michaels in the parking lot? Remember that? I think that was unsanctioned. So again, that's freaking 13 years, 20, wait, my God, 23 years ago. Wow. 23 years ago that match was. And the idea of what an unsanctioned match may have evolved over time, but that's the first one that comes to mind. I would imagine there has to be some referee there, but it's not about pinfalls. This match is not about who wins. In fact, I don't even think there'll be a winner. I don't know if there will be, because it's not about winning. It's not about pinfalls or submissions here. If there's a referee and it's unsanctioned, well, if it's unsanctioned, then a referee shouldn't be out there. It's very kind of contradictory when it comes to, you have an official referee out there for an unofficial match. Well, how does that work? So you got to throw your brain in the garbage or put it on ice for that. If there's a referee, I would imagine there has to be a referee. And the reason is safety, because the referee does provide an actual level of safety for the guys. So if they are out there and they are, they actually get hurt, a referee's there to tell them not only, bring out medical, or if they're running out of time, they got to say, 5 minutes, go home, boys, that kind of thing, to tell them spots. I think from a safety perspective and from just kind of a match structure perspective, you have to have a referee there. What they could do is just say, we have an official out here to count the three, but it's not going to be counted on the actual record books. It's unsanctioned by WWE, which, again, doesn't make sense given you have it on a PLE. You have as part of the show, you have an official there. If it's unsanctioned, you wouldn't be having it because there's too much liability there. Anyway, I'm getting into the weeds. So I think there'll be a ref. 3, a women's elimination chamber match. One dark horse pick to win, Liv Morgan. And my one potential pick to win the chamber is none other than Alexa Bliss. She's the only one, to my knowledge, that is not involved in any current feud, unlike the other 5 competitors in this match. And 4th and finally, your dark horse pick to win is Logan Paul, and my one potential pick to win the chamber is none other than Mr. You Can't See John Cena, and I think there might be some weird or controversial finish in which Cena wins the chamber, but the path to WrestleMania 41's main event, most likely night 2, is still very challenging to foresee. I agree. It's a fog right now. It would be interesting if the Cody decision with the final boss happens immediately after the men's chamber. Does WWE book a WrestleMania triple threat of Punk, Cena, and Cody, or a one-on-one of Cody and Cena, with the winner being forced to become the final boss's corporate champion? However, if Cody rejects the final boss's offer, who do you see possibly accepting the offer from the final boss? DJ Kuzma signing off. Enjoy the chamber. I'll try to appear in the Discord chat. Should be a fun one as always. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And thank you for that. A lot of questions here. Let's go through it. So, first, again, the idea of Cena winning the chamber is it seems to be the odds-on favorite. And with good reason, right? If you're going to do something with John Cena, why are we not doing it now? Like, we've been told this is it. So let's make it fun for Cena. Let's give him a hell of a match, a hell of a promo. If we're going to have a soft 1-year run with John Cena, then why bother? He could have just had a one-off match at WrestleMania, say it's his retirement, and go off into the sunset. But if you're going to tell a story with John Cena, you've got 9 months to do it. And you know what? Everything I just talked about with John Cena not aligning with The Rock, I still don't think it's the best choice. But if you're going to do it, it's still relatively early in his run. You could tell a fun story over the next 9 months. So I don't know if Cena's going to sell out, but Cena wanting to be a corporate champion in this point in his career doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, he's been hustle, loyalty, and respect for the last 25 years. And all of a sudden he's going to become, the corporate suit. It's kind of weird. I'd be interested to see it. I still don't think it's the right choice. But I would concur this. And this is extremely important. Where this segment with Cody and The Rock is placed is essential to who could be turning or who couldn't be. Because if Cena's going to turn, say Cena is the one to turn and just crazily align himself with The Rock, and he's the one who's injected into the match because The Rock has ultimate power, then it's going to be after John Cena wins, right? You're not going to have John Cena do this prior to the Chamber. So the placement of this segment with Cody and The Rock is crucial. It's a crucial clue as to who could actually be the one to turn, because we all know Cody's not going to do it, at least not right now. Again, well, if he's going to turn, it's going to be Mania, and that could be the ultimate place where he does, and I'd love to see it. Bring it on. So, it's also interesting that if no one calls out The Rock for him trying to create his own corporate champion, that The Rock didn't fight that his entire career, or at least the first part of his career. Remember Vince making him his corporate champion, and then he turned on Vince? Just like they tried to make Austin the corporate champion. We all know that worked out. But The Rock was the corporate champion for a while. He was the corporate champion through WrestleMania 15. And he eventually turned into one of the biggest baby faces WWE's ever seen after turning on the corporation. And now he's trying to create his own corporate champion. So hopefully that's brought up over the next several months. The irony, the hypocrisy. Somebody needs to bring this up. It cannot be passed on. It's low-hanging fruit here for somebody to cut a promo against him here. But who could possibly, outside of John Cena, who could possibly turn on Cody Rhodes? Well, let's look at who's in the actual match, right? We have Punk, Drew, Rollins, Paul, Priest, Cena. Okay, say Cena doesn't do it. Say Cody turns down The Rock, which is very likely. You have CM Punk. CM Punk turning heel to beat the corporate champion for The Rock. It would go against everything that CM Punk stands for. And it would while it would anger the fans, it really undermine his credibility, just period. It doesn't make a lot of sense. We have Logan Paul. Too early in his career. He would sell out. He's already a heel. I think he's going to be a world champion in the next 1 to 2 years, as long as nothing catastrophic happens. It doesn't make sense yet. Priest, sorry, pal. No. Just no. I enjoyed him as world champion. No way. It would just be not a chance. So that leaves 2 guys. Rollins, I would say, is locked in with potentially Roman Reigns. That leaves 1. Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is a guy that, if you recall, there's footage going around on X that The Rock is praising, and this was from several years ago, but he was saying that Drew McIntyre is going to be the next big guy. Now, it's not like at the time they foresaw anything, but it's interesting that was going around, if you saw it. I think Drew would be perfect. Perfect. Aligning himself with The Rock. He doesn't have any actual beef with The Rock that I know of, at least in character, in storyline. He needs a solid direction. Drew needs a direction. Right now, he's still talking a good game. He's losing a little momentum. He doesn't seem to win the big matches. He needs that boost, and this would do it. How about Drew McIntyre being the guy to sell out? Bring it on. And he even targeted Cody Rhodes. He targeted Cody Rhodes when he said he came back, and that's the reason he came back, was for the championship. And when he came to SmackDown anyway. So, how about that? All right, you're making me think now. All right, my goodness. So, let's continue. We got some emails from everybody in the regular email section, but let's go to Jeff, another patron of the show. He says, "Hello, fans. Can't believe it's already Chamber. Crazy how time flies. It's crazy to think WrestleMania is less than 2 months away. I was looking at the dates again, and I wonder if WWE knew they were booking Night 2 on Easter Sunday as well as 420. Haha. I don't know. Maybe, I'm sure they did. Let's see how that goes. Going to be fun. A fun way to WrestleMania. This year's Chamber isn't as predictable as years past. All the great stars that could win, but for my predictions, Tiffany and Trish are winning. Cody slaps The Rock. Bathroom break segment. I wouldn't sleep on that segment, Jeff, as we just talked about. It's so clear that Cody is not, at this time anyway, I got to be very, 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 very clear on that as well, is Cody's not turning yet. I'll be shocked. If he does, then holy crap. But I very much doubt it for now anyway. So I don't think that's a bathroom break segment. But KO and Sammy, I'm excited for them to see how far they let them go. I think Randy returns and saves Sammy. Women's Chamber, as much as I want to see Bliss win, I think it's going to be Roxanne Perez. Her and Bliss are the only ones that aren't in another current story. As for the men, I think it's going to be Punk or Cena. Hard to choose, but I'm going to go with Cena. Have a great weekend. See you in the Discord. Let's make it as fun as the Rumble chat was. All right, Jeff. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. And I would say that you have some interesting predictions there. I'll get to my predictions very quick. I want to get to them because that way I can actually respond to these. All right. Maybe I should next time just do my predictions up front and then the mailbag. Boy, that'd be a smart idea, huh? All right. So thank you, Jeff. Let's talk to Milan. Milan says, I know everybody's saying Cody can't turn heel. He's too good. But what if he does? How awesome of a turn would that be? Rock did say this week that disruptive changes are coming. And what bigger disruptive change than a heel Cody? I could just see him coming out on Saturday with his new black hair. It also sets up a potential Cody-Punk match for the title with Punk as the super babyface in all this. It could also lead to Roman getting involved long term. We could see or get a face Roman versus heel Cody at SummerSlam, and something that would be pretty cool and a huge change over the last few years, and that eventually that leads to Roman and Rock. Yes, it does. But hey, until I see Roman and Rock, which I guess is still potentially on the table, although nobody's really floating this as an idea of somehow Roman and Rock have an interaction at the Chamber, which unfortunately seems unlikely. I'll believe it when I see it. But Cody turning heel, now people are, I think beyond the fact that it would be shock to some people, we've seen Cody for 3 years as a babyface. He's been very successful, much to my dismay. But that opens the door for Cody to work with a lot of other people and to be even more of a conversation piece, right? He's been such about the people, Mr. Buttoned Up, Mr. Manufactured, Mr. $1 million smile with his perfectly white teeth. And like, all right, he's already dressed like a heel. All he has to do is just change his attitude and maybe his music. Because that'd be interesting what they do with his music that's so beloved. But that opens it up to work with Randy Orton. There's a program that we've all been waiting for. Right? That's fun. A babyface Roman Reigns, like you said, versus a heel Cody. That's fun. But it does shut down Rock versus Cody because you're not going to have heel. So Rock versus Cody with both as heels, if Cody turns, shuts that down unless The Rock just doesn't care about matches anymore, in which case then who cares, right? If The Rock is truly done in the ring from a match perspective, then yeah, you're done with the worry about turning both of them or turning Cody heel. So, all right, Milan, thank you. Let's go to Andrew from New Zealand, and he says, I must say it's awesome to actually watch Raw and SmackDown on Netflix and get more of a grasp on what everybody's talking about. I've had a couple of thoughts leading up to Chamber. And first, what if during the women's tag team title match before the Chamber, Bianca and Naomi are kicking ass? I'll just say ass because I felt like saying it. And at one stage, Liv and Raquel are both on the outside with Bianca and Naomi in the ring. But they cut to the big screen where you can see a video of Naomi attacking Jade. Bianca goes nuts and walks out, leaving Naomi, who gets pinned and loses the title. Naomi turns heel, making Chamber more interesting with Bianca winning it. So that is very possible. I'm really struggling to care about the Jade story. I really am. I wasn't very interested in when it began, although a whodunit every now and then is fun. Because Jade's character is insanely one-dimensional, superficial is a perfect way to put her character. superficial to the max. Everything's about her look. Everything, absolutely everything thus far has been about her look. She's had some okay matches, but pretty much formulaic, very limited in-ring time. They're clearly protecting her weaknesses, which is what you do, but it's clear they're protecting her weaknesses. Do you know what I mean? Which exposes her weaknesses, even though you don't see them specifically. You see what she's not doing and can kind of deduce from that what her weaknesses are, which is like length in the ring psychology, calling matches. Maybe she's improved vastly, or we haven't seen the best of her yet, but I haven't been super impressed. She hasn't been embarrassing. It's just been very limited. Therefore, she's been extremely superficial. So I don't really care that much about this story. I don't want Bianca versus Jade until Jade's ready. So if it's Naomi as a warm-up, cool. All right. Then somehow Roman costs Seth in the chamber and gets eliminated by Punk, and then Seth, instead of exiting, stomps Punk, who is then eliminated. This creates Seth versus Roman, and Punk cashes his favor for a triple threat. Meanwhile, Cena wins the chamber. Enjoy chamber, everyone. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you for your predictions. All right, one more email. Dan from England. Longtime listener, first-time emailer. Love the pod. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you so much, Dan. Hear me out. Floating an idea. All right. I see it floating in the water. Let's take a look at it. The Rock has propositioned Cody. It's obvious that Cody will say no. So what if The Rock then says, if you won't accept, then we will have someone who will. In walks corporate Cena with his, I deserve this. It's best for business. This is Cena's heel turn. The Rock helps Cena win the chamber and then interferes in WrestleMania, setting up The Rock and Cody at SummerSlam, and Cena has one last title run before he retires. Dan, you are a smart man, because I had forgotten that Cena said that in his post-Rumble press conference, that I even did say too at the time, that if this was a Cena heel turn, this is the seedlings for it. He didn't take any questions. He just said, I deserve it. This is best for business. That's exactly what he said. Babyfaces don't say that. You know, you don't just get in. To be honest, no, John, you haven't actually. Excuse me. If that wasn't meant to be a heel turn, that was actually John Cena just speaking freely. The answer is no, you don't, John. And you may be saying, what are you talking about? Not you, Dan, but the fans listening. What are you talking about? John Cena's the best of all time. He could get a world title match anytime he wants. No, you don't. That's not how this works. Tell me another simulated sport or actual professional competitive sport in which you have a legendary figure, right? Legendary. Come back after 10 years of not really competing in the ring, full-time anyway. And they're just saying, you know what? I deserve to be in the Super Bowl. I deserve that. So I'm just going to put myself in. Yeah, that's not how it works. That's not how life works. So again, if it's part of a heel turn, then yeah, that makes perfect sense to say that. But if he actually meant that as the reason why he's in the chamber, then no, you don't, John. No. In real life, you just can't insert yourself. You're not Bill Goldberg. There's another perfect example. I know he's not nearly, doesn't mean nearly what John does to WWE, but it's the same premise. You have, remember, Goldberg coming in and just inserting himself into world title matches. So, no, I think the real reason is if it's not part of a John Cena heel turn for him to say that is, I'm not going to be here for the build. So I'm just going to go from PLE to PLE, and that's that. You just have to deal with it. I'm in there because I'm a legend, and that's it. So, anyway, good thinking, though. I again, while I did shoot down John Cena aligning with The Rock, and I stand by it that it's not the best use of really anyone's time, it's not a bad use. I personally just don't think it's the best. But we've got a lot of answers coming tomorrow, just not all the answers. Very interesting. I think that's the most sought-after segment, even more than who wins the men's chamber. is what happens after Cody shoots down The Rock. That is crazily the most interesting part of the show, that, or at least the most, I guess, sought after part of the show in my mind, which makes me think it's going to be the final segment of the show. And if it's the final segment of the show, look out. If it's thrown in the middle of the show, it'll be more boring than if it's at the end, because you're not going to have somebody from the Chamber turn heel before the Chamber in the men's side. So if Cody and The Rock happens in the middle of the show, it's going to be a little less interesting, where maybe it is Cody just slapping The Rock and then Cody gets beat down by The Rock or something like that, right? But if it's at the end of the show, you could have the Chamber winner or somebody who lost the Chamber come out and is revealed as as Plan B for The Rock. Absolutely. So if it's at the end after the men's Chamber, look out. All right. Cool. Well, let's get to some voicemails and then my predictions.
This is DJ Kuzmo back at it again on your Mailbag show. Record you live on a Wednesday morning, and you know what time it is. It's time to
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry.
That's right, folks. Joe Hendry is his name, as I take you to my 33rd episode of the Joe Hendry Report. And like always, coming to you live from an undisclosed location. I must mention, before we start the show, to answer Matt's question from last week's episode in the Mailbag, if the Nemeth brothers are actual real brothers. And I'm talking about Ryan Nemeth and Nick Nemeth, aka Dolph Ziggler. And the truth is, they are real brothers in real life. This is not a gimmick, folks. They are brothers. And speaking of Ryan Nemeth, the same Ryan Nemeth was reported to have filed a lawsuit against AEW, CM Punk, aka Phil Brooks, and Tony Khan. It seems like there's a couple of things that have been happening for the past couple of months and a year or two since CM Punk had left AEW. But prior to that, it seems like Ryan Nemeth had some issues where he felt threatened by CM Punk and what was going on backstage, especially at that infamous show that AEW had in the UK a couple of years ago before CM Punk left to come to WWE. So there's a lot of things that's going on in this lawsuit that Ryan Nemeth, the brother of Nick Nemeth, has issued against CM Punk, aka Phil Brooks, Tony Khan, and AEW. Now let's get to the 33rd episode of the Joe Hendry Report. This past Thursday, we had a live episode. That's right, we had a live episode of TNA Pro Wrestling as they were in Full Sail University, Winter Park, Florida, as Joe Hendry had another concert, another championship concert, and this was very unique, as this song that Joe Hendry was singing had some references to Roman Reigns, Sheamus, The Miz, and the one, the only, the guy that he's chasing to have a match this year, none other than John Cena. And the name of the song is called I'll Defend My Title Every Week. Now, it goes something like this. I like these references that Joe Hendry says, and then one of the parts of the song that I like sounds something like this. Because it's hard to be humble when you're in the Royal Rumble, and you would have won if it wasn't for Roman Reigns. And if you don't believe me, cross the line and you can't see me. Of course, that was a line specifically for John Cena. Will John Cena ever make an appearance in a TNA ring? Let's see what happens. But then, as Joe Hendry was continuing his song, he gets interrupted by the debut of the colognes of Primo and Epico. If you remember, they were in WWE, but now they are going by the names of Orlando Colon and Eddie Colon. These guys are cousins. And it's kind of funny, as they were coming down to the ring to interrupt Joe Hendry, the crowd was chanting, "Where's Carlito? Where's Carlito?" As Carlito Cool is cousins with Primo and Eddie Colon. So this is very interesting that they're having this little thing. I thought Carlito Cool was going to show. But anyway, let's get to the very interesting part, as it looked like Joe Hendry was about to get taken down by both of the Colon brothers, all of a sudden, the lights go off, and we get the sound of a guitar strum, and it is none other than Elias, aka Elijah. He made an appearance as he wants to get involved. But wait a minute, does Elijah believe in Joe Hendry? So Elijah comes to the ring, and everybody's like, oh my goodness, they're saying, holy bleep, as none other than Elijah comes to the ring. He seems like he wants to tag team with Joe Hendry in this matchup against the Colon brothers. And then all of a sudden, here comes Santino Marella, the director of authority, to authorize this match for the main event. So we're having this main event matchup, folks, of Joe Hendry and Elijah versus the Colon brothers. So now we fast forward to the main event, a main event that went 10 minutes and 4 seconds as Joe Hendry and Elijah get the victory via what Elijah did was the pile driver on none other than Orlando. After what Orlando clotheslined Joe Hendry outside the ring, Elijah did the pile driver on Orlando, and 1, 2, 3, Joe Hendry and Elijah get the victory, as this could be a possibility that these guys could be tag teaming regularly in TNA. But does this seem like Joe Hendry and Elijah? Will they continue to be on the same page? Will Elijah eventually pursue Joe Hendry for his TNA World Championship? There's a possibility, folks. But once we have a live episode of TNA Pro Wrestling, anything could happen. Anybody could appear. We had the Colon brothers. We had Elijah, a.k.a. Elias. There's a possibility that maybe John Cena might show up. There's a lot of things that's happening, especially with the whole NXT and TNA collaboration. But anyway, as always, you have to remember to believe. Say his name. Always remember the words that Joe Hendry says anytime, any place, at any show. And most importantly, as your TNA World Champion, most importantly, do this.
Wave your hands from side to side and say, oh, I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is so prestigious.
Once again, this is your guy, DJ Kuzmo. Have a blessed week. Be kind to one another. Stay safe, my friends. Believe and peace.
Well, DJ, thank you for keeping us updated, as always, seriously. First of all, the CM Punk lawsuit, didn't know about that. The Colognes, Orlando, I forget the other name, obviously not Primo and Epico anymore, but in TNA, that's cool, awesome. I'm glad they're getting work. And Elijah, i.e. Elias, I saw something about that as well, as he transitions from WWE to TNA. That's, it's great to see when guys get another place to work. I know that WWE fans sometimes get a bad rap for it's WWE or nothing, and there are some fans like that, unfortunately, but looking at it from just a human perspective, man, if there's more places to work to hone your craft and earn a living, that's great. And they may not pay what WWE does, but at least they can get some revenue coming in. I mean, these guys don't have retirement. They don't have a pension. Whatever they make in the short career they have is whatever they have to save and live on. So it's great to see. I'm glad that all those guys are back getting work, and the relationship with WWE may eventually at some point lead to their return in WWE. But the only thing I will say about Elias, I have nothing against the guy. I didn't know that he was so religious. I mean, so into Christianity. I had no idea. And this show is not about religion, obviously. I'm only talking about it because he's been very open about it on TikTok and other platforms where he's reading the Bible and he's talking, about scripture and all this. It's just like, wow, I had no idea. So either my head was in the sand or he has just only over the last, number of years since he left WWE been more vocal about it and more open about it. But, I was just, so anyway, just a factoid if you're interested in such things. But cool. Thank you, Elias. TJ. I just haven't said Elias in a while. I guess my brain wants to say it a couple more times. But DJ, thank you. And I hope you enjoy the Elimination Chamber as well. And you're in the Discord server because you make it a fun time. All right, let's get to Alex the French guy. I think he's up next.
Alex the French guy here, your current European champion. I've been seeing this SmackDown comeback of The Rock. Of course, it's always good to see him, However, what is this? I'm just asking for one match. Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Who is the head of the table? That's it. I don't want any Cody crybabies to come down to elevate Cody. He has it. He has the championship. He do whatever he wants. But I don't want to have any other storylines outside of this one. Time goes by. The Rock has millions of projects. He's the owner of XFL. He's the owner of TKO. He's an actor. He's a singer. I swear he will sing something if he didn't already. Come on, man. Do this storylines. It's not that complicated. Rock, you just need to come back and say, okay, I'm the head of the table now. Point blank. But I can understand something about what he wanted to do on SmackDown is to erase what he did on the Raw premiere on Netflix because he was way too friendly with Cody Rhodes. And maybe he wants to erase this and to make it quote unquote storyline kayfabe because he was way too friendly with Cody Rhodes. And maybe this is just a way for him to say, okay, that's why I was that friendly with him. Kayfabe wise, in a storyline wise, and then at the Elimination Chamber, he will try to corrupt Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes will refuse, and then Roman Reigns will come, and he will spear the head out of The Rock or even Cody Rhodes. I don't care. I just want this match. Come on, man. You cannot come back. I say you cannot come back and don't give us this match. This is criminal. It's been like 5 years. Everybody is thinking about that. Last year we didn't have it. It's okay. But it is now. The time is now. The last time is now. I swear, guys. I am sensing that if it's not now, it will never happen. Because I don't know. It's just an instinct. It's not next year. It has to be now. So, guys, please, The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Who is the head of the table? Or if it's not that way, who is the real boss? Who is the real final boss? The tribal boss? I don't know. Rock, Roman, that's what I want.
Alex, I'm sensing there's a match you want, but I can't put my finger on it. Is it Cody and Rock? No. Cody and Solo? Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to your voicemail. Cody. I know what it is. It's Roman versus Drew McIntyre. That's what it is. Of course, I'm just being a jerk. I would concur with you 1,000%, my friend. Except here's the problem: they aren't going that direction. There's no sign of it. The only hope we have to cling on to that is that Roman is a heel. Roman's a babyface, Rock's a heel. So they're in the right place, right? They're on opposing sides, so no one has to turn. You got it. But the problem is he's focused on Cody. Roman's not even being mentioned. And Roman has his issues with Seth, so he's on his own warpath with Seth. Unfortunately, my friend, do I dare say, we could be looking at New Orleans at WrestleMania 42 as our next hope again for Roman Rock. If we don't get this, somebody needs to go to prison. Or multiple people need to go to prison in WWE. I mean, it is, like you said, it's criminal, which means people need to be punished. There needs to be punitive action taken against those in creative. Maybe even throw Dwayne himself in the slammer for a few weeks. It is criminal. I know that a lot of people want Rock Cody or Rock whoever. The story and what the match that everyone wanted prior to this whole We Want Cody thing, that, don't forget, fans, those of you that hashtag that, you got your wish, but you may have also effed up one of the biggest matches of all time. The Rock said it last year. You had it in the palm of your hand and you let it go. It couldn't be closer to the truth than that. So if it doesn't happen, maybe there's a subset of fans that we also should just, anybody that had a hashtag of We Want Cody, we're just going to take like 1,000 of you at random and put you in prison. Maybe that's what we'll do. Anybody that had that hashtag and you did that during the Cody, movement last year, we're going to put 1,000 of you randomly into prison because this is something that needs to happen. I would agree. All right. One more voicemail and my official predictions on the backside.
Hey, it's Kyle from Baltimore. So I know last week, because I love my, fan of the women's division, and about the whole situation about the women not getting deserved better, all this stuff. I don't know. Part of it, I think, is really by say all that. It's really because of Rhea Ripley herself. Rhea, to me, feels completely less than, or not interesting. I'll say less than, but she doesn't feel interesting right now as champion. I thought that when she won the title to Charlotte at WrestleMania 39 2 years ago, and I feel that way right now. I feel like Liv Morgan is more, it's like Liv and Roxanne and Bayley are, and Naomi and Bianca, those are the stories that they're telling there. And whatever's going to happen there is not going to, doesn't reflect Rhea Ripley. I know people are expecting and hoping that's Bianca and Rhea, but really why? Because they're the two biggest names of the company. That's all well and good, but then, as you say, as a storyline perspective, there has been no issue. There's been no issue between Bianca and Rhea for years because they've been on different brands, or different shows. Rhea on Raw, Bianca on SmackDown. So it's like, what sense would it make for Bianca to face Rhea Ripley beyond this could be a great match and it is a star power? It may end up still being Liv Morgan, even though she's still she's the tag team champion. I just think it's going to be Liv and incorporating Io Sky, since all three of them have been intertwining with each other throughout the last few weeks. So I think that's what we're looking at, a triple threat match at WrestleMania for the Women's World Championship. And then what Bianca's going to be doing is probably something with Naomi. Probably they'll have a singles match or something. I don't know. I thought the tag team title match was going to happen at WrestleMania itself, not last night. And for the title change that happened was cool, but it'd be intriguing what's going to happen with them moving forward. But I don't know what Bianca does. So that's just where it comes down to for me, where it comes to Rhea Ripley and Bianca right now. But that's just my thoughts. And, we'll see what happens at the Chamber itself. But, about like who, with your predictions on your show and then your review and stuff like that. But I don't know how I'm seeing it right now. Rhea just feels less dead than everyone else in the women's division around her. Feels more interesting and compelling than her right now. So hopefully they'll change that, or even if she loses the title, she should never win a title back because she's never been interesting. So that's it. Thanks for calling. Bye.
Thanks, Kyle, as always, for your analysis on the women's side of things. And I'm a big fan of Bianca and Rhea. I have been for years since they've teased it. Ever since they were the final two in the Women's Rumble a few years ago, I think 2-3 years ago now. And we saw what they could do, and just they haven't really crossed paths yet outside of that. And they're two massive names that have not collided yet in a proper way. And while I agree that, Liv and Io, I have no problem with Io as well. You can have a triple threat there, but a couple problems, and you named them yourself. Liv is a tag team champion, and her involvement in the women's title with Rhea Ripley, we've been there and done that. We did that for like 6 months. I mean, ever since Rhea Ripley returned at SummerSlam and went after Liv Morgan, and we had the turn with Liv and Dom and all that. Ever since that moment when Liv and Dom got together that was at SummerSlam, it's been Liv, Rhea, Rhea, Liv, Rhea, Rhea, Liv for months and months and months. I really don't think they're going to go back to that for WrestleMania. I don't think it would be very interesting for a lot of fans. But you also have Io Sky, who I have no problem with at all. Even though she's the one that dropped the belt to Bayley last year, she could regain it this year. Fans like her. Really like her. Every time she gets in the ring, you're just like, wow, why aren't we seeing more of her? So, again, with Bianca, though, you said, well, beyond star power and great match. Well, well, it's kind of like, well, yeah, that's the point though, isn't it? I mean, that's the whole point. And I don't want Jade to screw this whole thing up, which very well could, unless Naomi's revealed as the culprit. I mean, who knows? But Bianca just getting out of a tag team, hopefully out of the division for good, just dropping the tag team belts, it gives you a big clue that she's about to head into a singles role, and perhaps just nicely in time for her to face Bianca to win the Chamber. Maybe. That's my hope. But thank you, Kyle. And actually, speaking of which, let's just get into my predictions, everybody, for tomorrow night's, or tonight's, as you listen to this, Elimination Chamber event. And one that I have to say, I'm really excited about this PLE, because it is one that really could be massive. Is it going to be industry changing? No. Okay. Let me be honest with you. That, while I said it at the beginning of the show, it could be marketing. I think it's a lot of marketing there. It's a lot of hype. He's doing his job to get people interested. If we literally take it as industry changing, we're going to be very disappointed. Is it going to be a big show? Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, you got The Rock on there with a big decision and a big storyline. You got 2 massive chamber matches with implications for the WrestleMania main event. It's inherently built in to have a big impact. But is it going to have an earth-shaking, industry-changing, the way we think of it effect? Probably not, right? In other words, what do we think of as industry-changing? That's as big as it gets. We're thinking Stone Cold's coming out of retirement to face The Rock. We think, right, like Triple H is coming out of retirement to face Cody Rhodes, right? We think it's one of those massive out of retirement, out of nowhere matchups, right? It's going to be Triple H, or rather HBK Undertaker, Part 3 at WrestleMania. You know, we think of something crazy like that because that language carries that kind of weight with it. But it's not going to be that, okay? Is it going to be a big night? Yes. I think his choice of words is a little bit overboard. So take that opinion for what it's worth. All right. So let's go to the men's chamber. Actually, let's go to the unsanctioned match first. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. I'm really looking forward to this. They have gotten me very interested in this match where I have not been that interested. At least from the perspective of, we've seen this before, we've been down this road. They've done an awesome job of changing it up, making it beyond personal. I mean, ultra personal. Going to each other's homes. Being stalker-esque. This is going to be violent. It's going to be brutal. There will be bloodshed. At least there should be. It's not, again, as I said, it's not about winning and losing. It's about the storyline progressing to something bigger, which is probably going to be at WrestleMania. Randy Orton should get involved here. He should be the one to take out Kevin Owens, maybe save Sami Zayn from death. Right? Maybe Kevin Owens has his neck in a chair or something wrapped in a steel chain around a ring post. I mean, something ridiculous. And Randy Orton makes the save to get revenge on Kevin Owens for giving him a package piledriver a couple of months ago. That's my guess. So, fun match, brutal match. You know, this one's going to be awesome. There's just no way it's not. Tiffany Stratton and Trish Stratus versus Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. Probably Tiffy and Trish. The 2 T's. Probably going to win this. I mean, that's what it is. And Trish is back to being a babyface, I guess. All right, the women's elimination chamber match. Alexa Bliss. Actually, let me talk about this first before I get to that. Charlotte might have a say in this. And the Tiffy and Trish matchup. She could end up costing them the match, Charlotte. So keep an eye out for her. Or after the match, I expect Charlotte to attack Tiffany and Trish. So, all right. Alexa versus Bianca versus Bayley, Naomi, Roxanne Perez, and Liv Morgan. I am just going to go with what I want and not what is the smart choice, and that's Bianca Belair. I'm going with Bianca. Is she the most likely? No. But it's what I want because the stars are right there. It's right here. Belair's out of the tag team scene, at least for the moment. She's not a tag team champion. That was just dropped. That gives you a big hint as to what could be happening. Belair has been hiding behind the scenes for too long, and I think she wins here. Now, the other runner-up, definitely Alexa Bliss. I think she is the second in command here, and most people, I think, are picking Alexa Bliss to win, and with good reason. She's just returned. She's got a lot of momentum. People love her. She's got the throwback to being with Bray. There's a lot going for her there. And she's probably going to be aligning with the Wyatt Six very soon. That's been clear on television. So the smart pick would be Alexa Bliss. My heart wants to choose Bianca. So that's what I'm going to go with. Liv Morgan, I don't think so for the reasons I talked about earlier. Roxanne Perez, too early in her career. Naomi, probably going to be revealed as the attacker of Jade. So, all right. Men's Elimination Chamber, John Cena, CM Punk, Damian Priest, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and Logan Paul. First of all, before I give you my winner, this is going to be an awesome match. I mean, especially the fact, love or hate him, Logan Paul in this match just really adds another level because you know what he's capable of. We know what he can do. He's going to be just an awesome addition here. And is he going to win? No. Could it be the final 2 or 3? Yeah, he could be. And you know also John Cena is probably going to be number 6 out of the chamber, if not 5. Definitely 5 or 6. He's going to be towards the end. So who's going to start? Probably Logan Paul and Seth Rollins. Something like that. Then in comes Drew. Then in comes Priest. Then in comes Punk. Then in comes John Cena. Something along those lines. That's my guess in terms of the order. Not that that's super important, but... So ultimately, who wins? Boy, is this tough. I'm going with Cena. It's not a cute pick. There's nothing clever about this. I'm not trying to be the smartest guy in the room. He's the one that just makes the most sense here for me. Seth, I think, is going to be screwed by Roman, but it's deserved because of what he did to Roman at Rumble. So Seth, while he may be in the final 2 or 3 as well, is going to get speared into oblivion by Roman, who either is under the ring or comes through when the door is opened, and he spears Rollins, and Rollins is going to be irate. He costs him the match, and that's that. Damian Priest, no chance. Logan Paul, no chance at this point in his career yet. Punk, it could come down to Cena and Punk. Cena, Punk, Paul. That's my guess for the final 3. Or it could be Cena, Punk, Rollins. But Paul, the longer he goes in the match, here's the advantage if I'm thinking about this strategically. While Logan Paul doesn't have really the star power or longevity or value in his in-ring, or his character that WWE looks at yet, it's that he makes everyone look good. And the longer you have him in the match to take the bumps, instead of the older guys taking the bumps, that's saving, wear and tear on those guys' bodies. And it's giving Logan Paul more minutes. It's a win-win to keep Paul in, maybe until the final 2. It really is. I think Logan Paul is going to go deep. I don't think he's going to get eliminated off the bat. Especially with how much time they're giving him on TV, it would make no sense. So, Paul's not going to win, but he could go very deep into this match. Ultimately, is it going to be Cena? Yes, I think it is. Which leads to a Cena Cody, and then maybe the favors called in for Punk. And how does that work? With the Paul Heyman favor, all that. And then, of course, The Rock and Cody Rhodes, where The Rock is turned down by Cody. It infuriates The Rock. The Rock is, irate. There's going to be some physicality here, I would imagine. But what happens here? Maybe there is... If this is the final segment, I could see Drew McIntyre being the one to come out in a suit, or even CM Punk. It's good. If it's the final segment, it's going to be bigger than if it's a middle segment. So it's hard to tell other than Cody turning him down and then what happens after that. It could be a plan B revealed by The Rock. That's what I think is going to be. Whoever that plan B is will be revealed. Again, it could end with a slap. It could end with a rock bottom. And just that's it. But if it's the final segment, I think you're going to get a step further and you're going to see who that plan B is that The Rock chose to be his champion. All right. there it is. There's my final predictions. Thank you, everybody, for giving me yours. I hope everybody enjoys the PLE. I'll be on X. Usually that's kind of where I live when it comes to the PLEs, and I give my instant reactions to things going on. I'll try to watch in real time. It's going to be a big, big night. Industry changing? I don't know about that, but it's going to be big. So I hope everybody enjoys it. I'll be back with my review. You'll hear the SmackDown review tomorrow from Amanda from the UK. You'll get her take on SmackDown, which is going on right now. And then Sunday, most likely Sunday, you'll get my reaction to the PLE for Elimination Chamber. And again, if you want my more instantaneous reactions, I may put them on Patreon, become a member, and definitely on X as well. Follow me at the WWE Podcast. Thank you, everybody, and enjoy.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.